All right, what is going on, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome back to the KC Sports Report. Michael Darcy, your host here as always, and today I'm going to break down the Kansas City Chiefs' monumental collapse to the Cincinnati Bengals in NFL Week 17. So Chiefs Kingdom, as you can probably tell by the sound of my voice, I am under the weather. I probably have COVID-19, but besides that, after watching this game, I feel even sicker now than I did before. That's incredible. The Chiefs somehow found a way to choke this game. And I want to talk about it because even though I'm not feeling good, I've got so many thoughts going through my mind right now because that was a really frustrating loss. And let's talk about it. So the Chiefs just dropped this game to the Cincinnati Bengals on the road by a final score of 34-31. They lost this game on a game-winning field goal. And with this loss, the Chiefs moved to 11-5 and the Bengals advanced to 10-6. But more crucially with this loss, the Chiefs are no longer the number one seed in the AFC playoff picture. The Titans were able to beat the Dolphins earlier today, so they leapfrog the Chiefs and they take our spot. And as of right now, if the playoffs started tomorrow, the Chiefs would be the number 2 seed and playing in Wild Card Weekend. So today was not optimal. Today was not an ideal day for the Kansas City Chiefs. So many things went wrong, both on offense, defense, special teams even. I know you guys are frustrated with the officiating and the referees. I want to talk about that because they were a problem in this game, and don't get it twisted. I don't like to talk about the refs. I very seldom bring up the refs because I don't believe that the refs can really change the outcome of a game very often. Today was one of those examples. The refs, whether you want to admit it or not, changed the way this game was played. There was a lot of calls that went against the Chiefs. There were some calls that went against the Bengals too, but a lot more went in favor of the Bengals, in favor of the home team, than they did for the Kansas City Chiefs. In fact, there was 10 penalties called on the Chiefs, a lot of pass interference calls that shouldn't have been called, but there were 10 penalties called for the Chiefs, and that went for 80-plus yards for the Bengals. So the refs were not good in this game, but the coaching also leaves me very confused. You know, the Chiefs on 3rd and 27, it was a tie game. I believe it was 31-31 all. 3rd and 27, the Chiefs decided to all-out blitz, cover zero, nobody in the secondary, and for whatever reason, Spagnuolo thought it was a good idea after Jamar Chase looked like Randy Moss over and over and over again in this game, mossing receivers. They decided to go man-to-man single coverage, Charvarius Ward versus Jamar Chase on 3rd and 27, sending everybody in the kitchen sink at Joe Burrow. And Joe Burrow chucked it up there. Jamar Chase caught that ball for 30 yards on 3rd and 27, and it set the Bengals up in the red zone. And from that point on, just the craziest circumstance of events happened. The Bengals ended up, I believe, going for it on 1st, 2nd, and 3rd and goal. They tried to QB sneak it. They were denied each and every single time. The Chiefs defense did step up there. But on 4th and goal, the Bengals could not get it. Yet there was, I think, holding penalties on both teams, which offset it. They played 4th down again. Then Charvarius Ward got called for a hands to the face, which I think was the weakest call. And that gave them a 1st and goal. They ended up just taking a knee, clocking the ball. And McPherson kicked the game-winning field goal. And the Chiefs fall in this game by a final score of 34-31. Like I said, some very questionable coaching decisions. Why you decide to all-out blitz on 3rd and 27 is one of the stupidest decisions I have ever seen. That is inexcusable. But what's even more inexcusable is after that play, I was screaming about it on Twitter, which, go follow me on Twitter. It's at KC Sports Report. I was screaming about it. You do not let the Bengals just waste downs. You let them score. You give them the points so you don't have to burn your timeouts. You don't have to burn the clock. And the Chiefs literally did not do that. You could have let them score. You could have given the ball back to Patrick Mahomes and your offense, and you would have had like 1 minute and 45 seconds left. That's more than enough time with this offense. But for whatever reason, you thought it was a good idea to play hero ball and try to have your defense save the day. And unfortunately, today was just not the defense's day. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase single-handedly won the Bengals this game. It was incredible. I have never seen a performance by a wide receiver that I saw from Ja'Marr Chase. Ja'Marr Chase looked unbelievable. But Joe Burrow had 446 passing yards and 4 touchdowns. And Ja'Marr Chase, the man of the day, my MVP of this game, 11 receptions for 266 and 3 touchdowns. The first touchdown was inexcusable. He got behind the defense and just caught an easy pass and took it himself. No, that was the slant pass where he just cut up field and burned past everybody. But one of his touchdowns came from a Dan Sorensen misassignment. He decided to go cover, I think he was trying to cover the tight end, and he just got the miscommunication turned him around, and it was ugly. But yet again, Dan Sorensen costed this team a big-time touchdown. But I can't believe the decision-making for not letting the Bengals score the ball in the final minute. Like, why don't you just let them score? You burn your timeouts, and you burn time off the clock by letting them try to punch it in by the 1. They were eventually going to punch it in if they wanted to. They had enough opportunities with all the free plays they got. It was only a matter of time. I think that was bad. I think that was really bad. I understand the officiating in this game. L'Jarius Sneed got called for a couple holding calls that shouldn't have been called. Rashad Fenton was so disappointed and distraught. He was just clapping after he got called for some penalties, like he couldn't believe what was going on. But I just want to say this really quickly, because I'm going to get a lot of views on this video. I'm going to get a lot of non-Chiefs fans talking their game. The Chiefs finally fell after winning 8 straight games. Opposing teams are going to come by and talk their crap. The ultimate goal of the NFL should be to get the calls right. Today they did not get the calls right. And you can clearly see that by the way that the officials missed stuff, by the way the fans reacted, by the way even the players reacted. You could see, I stayed after the game to watch some of the post-game press conferences. Joe Burrow said that they got lucky with a few calls 3 different times in his post-game presser. You think that if he thought that they were able to win this game without some of those good, fortunate calls that went for them, he would have brought it up as many times as he did? No, they got some calls, and I understand that's football. I understand that's how it goes, but we should want the officials to be better for everybody, because the officials for this game, and I think that the head official actually got COVID, so he wasn't here, so it was a bunch of backups, but the goal of the NFL should be to get it right, and today they were just not consistent. They were very lopsided towards the Bengals, and again, I'm not saying that that's the only reason you lost this game, because that's weak. But I will say, it did change the way this game did go. And I'm not saying that that ultimately was the reason why they ended up losing, but I think you'd be pretty idiotic to say that those big-time holding calls and pass interference calls didn't really help the Bengals when they really needed it the most. Like, let's be honest now. Like, that is what happened in this game. But again, sometimes, and I said this on Twitter, sometimes you just got to give props to the better players. I keep awing over Ja'Marr Chase. Ja'Marr Chase was really good today. He looked like Tyreek Hill against the Bucs last year. The way that he was able to just go up in some of those jump ball situations and just come down with it, it was incredible. It's just like, throw it up there, Joe Burrow. Ja'Marr Chase down there somewhere. He was able to come down with some unbelievable catches. And sometimes, Charvarius Ward and Rashad Fenton's coverage wasn't very bad. Like, I didn't have a problem with some of their coverages. It's just, I wouldn't have gone man-to-man. Like, the coverage was good, he made some good catches, but ultimately, Spags, you should have doubled him. Like after he got that first touchdown, after he got that first 100 yards in the first half, you should probably double him, Spags. That'd probably be a good idea. So, that's kind of my main complaints with this game. We saw sometimes the defense stepped up. I thought the defensive line was okay today. Jaron Reed had a sack, which ultimately gave the ball back to the offense. Frank Clark got a sack. Chris Jones got a sack. But, the secondary just didn't hold up against some of the better receivers. And I think that part of that has to do with just not knowing how good and capable Ja'Marr Chase was. But I think they got to get better. This is a game that really hurts to lose. You now no longer hold the number 1 seed. You were in control of your own destiny, and now you're not. You need the Dolphins, not the Dolphins. You need the Titans to lose to the Texans next week. And if you beat the Broncos, you're going to win the 1 seed. But at that point, guys, I'm not even thinking about that. At this point, we need to just focus on getting our bleep together, because we are really close to the postseason, and we cannot afford to drop some of these games when it really matters. And, this game was an exception, an anomaly, but the playoffs start in like 2 or 3 weeks. And especially if we don't get the bye, which I don't think that we will, we're going to be playing on Wild Card Weekend. So it seems like we're going to be playing really soon here, guys, in the playoffs. So hopefully they can address some of these things. I just think that defensively they've got to get better. They've got to learn that, hey, when you're going up against a receiver like Jamar Chase, you got to make adjustments, because they didn't really make adjustments in this game. And, everyone's saying that, the Chiefs defense wasn't legit. Like, they just got exposed. They got exposed against the Chargers. They got exposed against the Bengals. I don't think they played particularly well today. I think they missed a lot of tackles. I think they missed a lot of assignments. But we haven't seen that this season in the recent winning streak. They weren't missing tackles. They weren't doing a lot of this stuff. That's very uncharacteristic. But I do think they're going to correct it, because this team has a lot of pride. This team has a lot of championship pedigree on the roster, and I think that they're going to get back to it. But this loss definitely does sting. It really does sting, because now you're at the mercy of what the Titans do next week. But, one other thing that I wanted to talk about is the Chiefs were really kind of doomed from the start. Their left tackle, Orlando Brown Jr., did not play in this game with a calf injury. Lucas Niang moved over to left tackle, and on the first or second drive of the game, he ended up sustaining a knee injury. He had to get carted off the field. It was an ugly injury. If it's up to me, I think that he's probably out for the year. Not good. Actually, no, he is out for the year. But I thought that Joe Tooney, who moved to left tackle from left guard, I thought he played exceptionally well. For a third-string left tackle, somebody that hadn't played left tackle, I believe, since college, he looked pretty good. He looked very good. And I thought that Darrell Williams looked phenomenal today. That's another thing. The offense in the first half, they scored on 4 straight drives. They were not being stopped by the Bengals defense. Just the second half was a different story. They couldn't get anything going on offense. The defense gave up too many key drives, and that's why they ended up falling. Like, the defense gave the ball back to the offense a couple times. They just couldn't do anything about it. And ultimately, that does fall at the feet of Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. But, other than that, I thought that Patrick Mahomes played pretty well today. He had 2 touchdowns. He had 3 touchdowns and I think 250 plus yards. So you can't really get mad at Mahomes' performance, because I thought that he played well, but it ultimately just wasn't good enough to win. Actually, no, he had 2 touchdowns. Darrell Williams also had 2 touchdowns. He had 14 carries for 88 yards. But, I'm looking at it right now. The Bengals' offensive pieces just performed better. And, there's not really much you can do about that. So, Chiefs Kingdom, what are you guys' thoughts on this game? I know a lot of you are frustrated with the referees and the officials. I think that's okay to an extent. But, guys, like, the questionable coaching decisions at the end of this game, that ended up coming back to hurt the Chiefs more than the officials. And that's pretty sad. Like I keep saying, if you would have let the Bengals score with under 3 minutes to go in the game, you would have had the ball back. You would have given it back to Patrick Mahomes in the offense. They could have gone down the field, scored, and went for 2. You win this game, and you basically secure the number 1 seed. That's how this game could have gone, but it just didn't. So, this is a very good lesson to be learned. We might face this Bengals team again. Like, the way that the playoff seedings are kind of going right now, I would not be shocked if we met them again. And actually, Joe Burrow looked pretty banged up. Tyrann Mathieu came off the edge and hit him, and he looked like he was holding his knee. So hopefully Joe Burrow's okay, because he was phenomenal today. But if we do meet again, I don't expect these mistakes to repeat themselves. I think that they're going to learn. I really do. I'm just looking at my notes right now. There's not much more that I want to talk about. I thought that, they ran the ball pretty effectively. Darrell Williams looked just as good, if not better than Clyde. I thought that there was times where Derek Gore looked okay. He broke off a good run. And I thought they moved the ball pretty well on offense in the first half. They just didn't do it consistently. But ultimately, I think that defense and coaching and a little bit of the referees is why they didn't win this game. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to leave you on that. Not feeling well. Hopefully I'll get some more content out in the next week. There's a lot to talk about in this game. Hopefully I'll do more of it over Twitter. Hopefully I'll do more of it in the coming week. But until then, I'm going to leave you with this. The Chiefs are not the number 1 seed anymore. But if I tell you one thing, the year that they won it all, the year that they were able to win Super Bowl 54, they were the 2 seed. Just keep that in mind, guys. So the Chiefs fall to the Bengals by a final score of 34-31, but there's no doubt in my mind the Chiefs will bounce back and improve. Thank you for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, hit that like button, comment, and subscribe for more of the best Chiefs content on YouTube. You can also follow us on Instagram for more of the latest updates on future videos, as well as instant Chiefs news right after it happens. You can also support the channel via the Patreon, as well as buying merchandise from the KC Sports Report store on Teespring. The links to all of those websites will be in the description. You just listened to the KC Sports Report, presented by Michael Darcy.